Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. We are less than 1 month to the October 12 presidential election. Our seconds tick off, and we zoom in on the most decisive political leadership event in the country. The temperature is rising. The political rhetoric is taking as many shapes as political party ideologies diverse. Within the ranks of the party in power, confidence and serenity are the watchwords. Among the opposition political parties, some have affirmed their autonomy as opposed to others this far have failed, who this far have failed to achieve an alliance much talked about. But time waits for no one as the approaching steps of October 12 sound even louder with every passing second. And there is the divine word, peace. Yes, peace, which is the final goal on the mind of every optimistic citizen of our great nation. To attain this common objective for the common good appears to be as difficult as walking barefoot on a thorny platform. Elections Cameroon and all electoral stakeholders are aware of such a thin line to thread. This explains why this week in Yaoundé, their 8th statutory consultation forum, Elections Cameroon and other electoral stakeholders met at the conference center to establish a code of conduct for the presidential poll to achieve peace between the winner and the losers. What are the ingredients to put on the package? That will be our focus on Press Hour today. I am Kilian Ndandifon in Yaoundé, and this is Press Hour. What will be the ingredients that will be put in the package of peace for us to have peace before, during, and after the presidential poll in Cameroon come October 12, 2025? And we are talking about a political event that is just nearby, less than 1 month. That's what we'll be talking about. If you are just joining us, we are broadcasting live from Studio 4 of the CRTV Production Center in Balatu in Yaoundé. This is Press Hour. To talk about this topic, we have invited 2 ladies and 2 gentlemen whose profile actually fit our subject. We are talking about Yvonne Moma B, who's a household name on Press Hour and in the political and human rights scene in Cameroon. You're welcome to Press Hour.
Thank you, Kilian. Another pleasure being here to share my bit or to put my own stone to the foundation of nation building. Good morning, fellow panelists, and good morning to the peace-loving Cameroonians, despite all what we are going through.
We are going through a lot, and we are working for peace all together.
Yeah,
we hope that we achieve that.
We will get to it. We'll get to it.
Meet Reverend Dr. Ngu E. Robert, who has so many portfolios, but we have invited him to the set today as a moral authority. You are welcome, Reverend.
Thank you very much, Kilian. It's a pleasure to be here again for the second time this month. No, not really, last month and this month. So I am really delighted to be here, and I think it's about time for me to expose a few things concerning moral authority and peace in this nation. And I think we're going to handle it very well, by God's grace.
How many times are you praying for peace in Cameroon as a reverend person?
I would say for the last 50 years I've been praying for Cameroon.
So at the same level, you have not intensified now that everybody is talking about peace?
No. You see, once you have something, peace is what we really need every day.
Okay.
And I have over 200 million pastors for this nation.
Okay.
In an association that I'm working. So I would say I pray. I have a 15 minutes portion every day to pray for the issues of this country and what is happening in the world. Because prayer is a continuous thing. We have to pray continuously.
Thank you so much. We want to introduce now Sylvie Jacqueline Dongmo, who is a peace leader She's a human rights activist. You're welcome to Press Hour.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kilian, for inviting me. Greetings to all co-panelists and to all televiewers of CRTV. It's my pleasure to be here today to discuss this very important topic. As you know, there is no development without peace, and we are here to really still contribute to see how best we can build peace in our country. You know that peace is a co-construction, and I'm always more than happy to chip in what I can in order to make peace happen
in our country.
And even out of the country.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you talk of out of the country. Yeah. You also have another portfolio we'll talk about. You are an international leader somewhere. Francis Nimpa is editor-in-chief, Radio Hot Cocoa in Bamenda. You're welcome.
It's a pleasure, Mr. Nda, and good afternoon to my co-panelists. I greet all those who are viewing us from the Northwest and Southwest regions. We are talking about peace today, and I feel my heart really goes to these people, because for the past 9 years, when you talk peace, it's really far-fetched in these two regions. So I think that by the time we end our conversation, we might be reaching a ground somewhere where these two regions can see peace, at least for once.
Thank you. Like the Reverend said, it's a constant thing. Prayer and the search for peace is a constant thing in human life. At this moment, let us invite Yoti Kale Lisonge, who read the newspapers for Press Hour.
From society to politics, economy and sports, the papers had a lot to write about this week. However, for today's review, we highlight some of the issues touched on, beginning with education. Carefully crafted stories on the 2025-2026 school year set in motion on September 8 occupy columns of The Guardian Post, Cameroon Tribune, The Voice, Cameroon Insider, The Herald Tribune, and The Median. For The Voice, it was a special back to school for children of media professionals, similar to the efforts for an effective school year as seen on The Guardian Post. The Median focused on a back to school without tears. Meantime, the Herald Tribune was more concerned about the 3,000 students who answered present on day 1 in the Southwest region. Cameroon Tribune, for its part, lures readers when it headlines, "New school year off to a flying start, but..." A suspension mark indicating that there's more to uncover within the pages of the September 11 publication. Turning over to politics, a lot of information was disclosed on the upcoming presidential poll. From the Dawn newspaper wondering in an editorial if the opposition can challenge President Paul Biya, to Electoral stakeholders adopting a code of conduct as reported on municipal updates, and the reporter spotlighting the Minister of Territorial Administration's visit to the National Printing Press to assess the level of material production, the print media did their best to keep their readership in the know. The Eagle's Eye, for its part, kept its sight on parliamentary diplomacy. Meantime, Cameroon Tribune stressed on the dangers of hate speech. The September to December 2025 edition of Summit magazine has dedicated quite a number of pages to the Cameroon Development Corporation, CDC. Key issues include the cassava project, which is on course, and crop diversification, implying that there are brighter days ahead for the corporation. In the Men and Matters column, the publisher Kange Williams Wazaloko pens down a piece on political impostors as contemporary presidential candidates. A moment is taken as well to remember John Frunze in the article. As concerns news on the economy, The Horizon in one of its editions mentioned that there are dark days for Cameroon's treasury bond sales in Central Africa. Lastly, in sports, the Chantal Biya International Cycling Tour and the performance of the Indomitable Lions in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers gave fans much to read and talk about this week.
Thank you so much, Yoti. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome back. Now we're going to go straight into our focus on Press Hour today. October 12 poll, what can make it possible for us to have a peaceful election? We are already getting into the period before almost getting to the campaign period that starts on the 27th of September. The election itself is 15 days away, that is on the 12th of October. And after that, we have a series of activities, post-electoral activities that generally come about with a lot of tension. Now, question is, what can we put into the package as ingredients for us to have peace? The peace that is good for everyone. The peace that is a good, that is a common good for all of us. Now, I'm going to start with an event that took place this week in Yaoundé that brought together Elections Cameroon, the electoral body that takes care of management of elections in our country. It brought around that body all other electoral stakeholders to talk about how to move forward, what they brought to the table for us to have a presidential election that keeps every Cameroonian at peace. I saw you there, Yvonne. I saw you there, Sylvie, Jacqueline. I saw so many other people. Now, just talk to us, you who are here. What did you take to the table of that consultation? Because I know you came there, you represented the president.
Candidates.
Yes, the candidate of your political party.
Presidential candidate.
Yes.
And we were broken into panels where we specifically spoke like stakeholders. The code is a code of good conduct because just conduct may be negative or positive. It's a code of good conduct. We could modify the document because from the onset, the document seemingly was only addressing political stakeholders. We know it takes so many to tango when it comes to political issues. So we had to add the administration, territorial administration, ELECAM itself, and all other stakeholders. The emphasis was laid on who penalizes hate speech, as we heard from the press review. They may penalize journalists, penalize those of the opposition parties when it comes to leaders in this country, those who are the mouthpieces, who penalizes them. If this country does not take this issue of hate speech and show an example on some who just think that they can say what they like, we cannot be going towards a strategic and very important elections like the one we are going to, and an elected member of Senate goes on air, grants an interview, Senator for Bangem, and says she would not want to see any other party except the CPDM come and campaign in Bangem. Are we living in a jungle? I hope her wings will be clipped and she will be warned to desist from such pronouncements, which can, stir a roar in Bangem. Bangem belongs to Bangem people who have a right to militate in whatever political party they want. There is her example and many others who have to stop that.
You even say Bangem belongs to Bangem. If someone left Kusiri in the far north for this presidential election and comes to campaign in Bangem, they should not have any obstacle on their way.
None at all. Who is she? What effrontery to say I don't want to see this country, this triangle belongs to everyone.
But do you know something?
No.
That is an isolated case in Bangem because Bangem is one of the rare places in the northwest and southwest regions where we have had stability, we have had calm, we have had peace in the midst of the tension that we have, crisis that we have.
That's really, you said relative, so the peace is not there. They are part of what we want to decry here, the insecurity in the Northwest and Southwest region, not excluding any part of it. We should stop picking out specific areas to claim that belong to us. She is senator today, she may not be tomorrow. Others will become, and the people of Bangam will continue to live. She's supposed to be exemplary and not the show. I saw it's viral on social media.
Actually, it's to be condemned, but I still come back to this. We have quoted Bangam here as an oasis in a desert in terms of what's happening in Northwest and Southwest. We continue to say that. And I think that, Yvonne, we should tag this to the person who said it and not to that place.
I said a senator. I did not say Bangam people said.
Exactly.
I said a senator.
Exactly.
Said that.
Yes. You, human rights activists, would like to talk about actor. When you hear such statements, what's your reaction, especially in a period like this one? Madam Sylvie.
I want to say that peace is not just a declaration, it's the way we live, our actions, our behavior, our attitude. That's all about peace. Because you can be talking about peace from morning to evening, but there is no peace happening. And or else you are showing the contrary. Your attitude is showing the contrary. I think, honestly, that we are living a very challenging time in Cameroon, and we should be very careful at different levels, because we are talking about a co-construction, meaning that each and everyone at different level has a role to play. And before we question what others are doing, we should start by ourselves, meaning that the more we talk about ourselves, the more we talk about the other people. So it's not the time that we can just use any type of language, especially the language of exclusion is extremely dangerous. Either we are in one country or we are not. If we think that is a country where we have sub-countries, then we should know. And if we are in one country, we should understand that no matter where I find myself in Cameroon, I should feel at home. So this type of divisive language is very dangerous, especially coming from people at certain position, because somebody in the community might make such a mistake, but when you hold a position, it's more than dangerous, because you are like the mirror of the society. And as a mirror of the society, as the representative of the people, you should be a model. So it's time for peaceful language. We are already in Cameroon, a lot of stress going on, a lot of frustration going on at different levels. Therefore, the least thing can just make things to explode, and we don't have any reason to encourage that. On the contrary, we should be looking for ways to really appease any situation, because already each Cameroonian has all reasons to be angry, to be frustrated. Therefore, our job should be, how do we lessen the frustration instead, and not the other way around. That is my first take on this.
Francis, before I come to the Reverend Doctor, who is our elder on the set, now we have an institution in Cameroon. We have several institutions, but we know the National Commission for the Bilingualism and Promotion of Multiculturalism. It's a specific organ that should fight hate speech frontally. What will you advise be done to what we have already in hand, and other people who may make similar statements as we get into the electoral hot potato, if I should call?
Okay, thank you so much, Kilian. But just before I get there, since we're looking at peace, I want to think that the factor that promotes peace, first of all, is justice. Yes, there should be justice. Justice here, we're talking about fairness, equality, and human rights. Now, in a presidential election that we have coming on the 12th of October, the authorities concerned, the administration, should be the first people to be held accountable to promote peace. I've seen in political meetings in the past weeks where administrators in other communities actually deny a political aspirant to hold a meeting. It's already creating violence.
No,
this
where did
is
that
not
happen?
a peaceful act at all.
Where did that happen?
We saw it in Maiganga. We saw it in Limbe. I'm not the one saying it here. All of us watch what happened in Meganga with Bello Buba and the same Bello Buba in Limbe, Southwest region. So when administrators already behave like that, and we come here, we are talking like Madam said, we can only preach peace in paper, but our actions should be what should promote the peace. Okay. On about hate speech that you asked, I think the National Commission for Bilingualism is doing quite much, but there's still much to be done because it has to be accompanied with sanctions. Madam Yvonne raised the issue of Bangem. What will be done for such a state personality? That's a state personality to have said what she said in Bangem. Something should be done. If nothing is done, then the commission itself is a toothless bulldog. So action should be taken to promote, to debunk hate speech that we have. And during this campaign, it is obvious that we have a lot of hate speech that will be manifested in the ground when the campaigns go on. So some stopgaps must be made now and some rules put so that defaulters can find themselves sanctioned in one way or the other. And
the sanctions should not delay. Now, we're going to come to Reverend Dr. Ngu E. Robert, who is a moral authority. Now, I talked about peace as a divine quality in our introduction. So when you hear such declarations, what pricks you? How do you respond to that?
This is really a confused, not really confused, but you see, you cannot have peace without loving. Peace is a recipe of love. So when we are talking about peace, we need to be able to understand who are we in the first place? And where is our background? And we're talking about a nation that has Christ as the background. Christianity is as the background. I'm not coming here to actually preach, but I'm coming here to let you know that when you're talking about peace, if you do not love yourself, you must start first of all with yourself. And then you must love your neighbor. And then you must love your country. There cannot be peace when there is hate speech, when somebody, oh, this guy is an Anglophone, this guy is this. But one thing I want to really emphasize today is that you cannot know more than what you know, but you can improve on what you know. And we are not willing to be able to understand that this country belongs to every one of us. Somebody is not reliable, but he's reliable for what he says. But what we're saying is that the education standard is not really there. The church is doing what the church is doing, but you cannot force the people to understand or to believe. But they need to believe. Because if we are out there to fight people because this person said this and this person said that, it's ignorance. What are we doing as leaders? We need to be able, as moral leaders, to show the character that we have first, and then put it into perspective. Because what I'm seeing going on is that people are hungry, and people are just waiting that everything must come out from somewhere. So peace now has been deteriorated, has been put down in a situation where we don't even understand what peace is. Empowering people to live a better life. That is what peace is. But peace, as I have said it, it comes from love. If you do not love, if you do not have love, and what is love? Love is coming from God. Jesus is the one that has given us his peace. He says, ye shall love one another.
Yes, thank you so much. Just a little rectification that Cameroon is a lay state. We mean that we accept all the other religions as long as they receive authorization to operate from public authorities. We also know that the Muslims, all the way, they've been praying for peace. We have so many other denominations, just to add to the Christians that you talk about. Now, we're going to go back to the consultation between Elections Cameroon and other electoral stakeholders that took place in Yaoundé during the week at the conference center, and understand exactly why that happened from the chairperson of the Electoral Board of Elecam.
It's intended to open up dialogue with all actors of the electoral process that will permit to come out with a coherent and acceptable modus operandi in the exercise of the election. These actors are constituted by political parties, the administration itself, the judiciary, the civil society, as well as the media. In difficult times like that, we intend to have everybody on board, to have a common approach towards the election. This is the occasion for us to exercise our different options and orientations, so that by the time we're leaving here, we are signing a code of good conduct to permit all the actors to respect the rules and regulations put in place. It's a common agreement. It's not dictated by somebody. And this will be put in place to be enabling to permit the election to take place in a transparent and free and fair manner. The difference of 2025 elections shows a significant increase in the number of electors. We are moving from 6 point something in 2018 to about 8 point something, above 8 point something million. This is quite a remarkable record. And in this number, we have a series of increase in the women, the gender, women population, and the youths who have come in very strong, especially not forgetting also the increased number of people living with handicap. We have a lady candidate out of the 12 candidates that are going in for elections, and we have a lot of enthusiasm. So we think that everything being equal, voter apathy will be a thing of the past. Elecam is quite ready for the elections because the provisional electoral list is already out, and we are waiting for the recommendations and the suggestion observations that will be made by electors. Electoral materials are on the ground in the different regions. We also have electoral campaign materials that are ready. In a few days, they will start campaigning. Security-wise, we are ready. We are going to sign the code of good conduct, as well as the citizens must go and vote. They should go and vote and exercise their duty, because that is the only way they can decide for the future.
Yes, I come back to you in the studio. You were there when the various commissions were working in subcommittees, when you were doing roundtables and workshops. You were there, you contributed, Madam CV, and some others were there. You talked about your contribution earlier. She also talked about her contribution earlier. Now you have revisited what the chairperson of the Electoral Board of Elecam has said. I think it represents exactly the goal of the consultation.
Yeah, it represents the goal, but for one point, the Code of Good Conduct, we adjusted, we did all, and adopted, but advised that it's incumbent on the candidates to take those engagements representing, or the leaders of the different political parties, so that it gives it a stronghold and they can be held accountable. So I think in the days ahead, it's going to be signed and disseminated. It was a document we worked on specifically, and we did a lot of improvements, which now touches all the stakeholders of the electoral process.
And that is where we have a problem. It will be one document, like so many other documents that we have. What means will whoever use to hold some other person responsible for not respecting the code of good conduct?
If it's about structures, I think Cameroon has just so many of them. I saw Konak at that meeting. This is the period when people should open up call centers. I think Madame Dongmo does something like that. Call centers where we tell individual Cameroonians, wherever you find it, the electoral process faulty, or somebody going against the about 27 or 28 points of that good conduct code, that should be denounced. And those who are supposed to, somebody said it here, justice is the only means through which we can achieve all of that. Because once my rights are somebody plays around them and that person is sanctioned exemplarily and communicated about, other Cameroonians will refrain from doing the same thing.
Yes, Madam CV, Jacqueline, I hear that you have a call center. What about that call center? Tell us more about it, particularly about the elections that we have.
Yeah, it's a big project on reducing violence through early warning. And we did the project. There is a special section on electoral monitoring, election monitoring, sorry. And as part of that section, we have a women's early warning room. And it is an early warning, as Yvonne said, it's an early warning mechanism that gives women and youth the possibility of playing a key role in the conduct of peaceful election. It's first a virtual space, then a physical going towards the election. And one of the things that I can mention is that we have trained monitors. We see how training coming up in a week. To train monitors, we have long-term and short-term monitors. So the long-term monitors are those who, as Yvonne was mentioning, just go around and observe the environment. Are people free to register on electoral roll? Are they able to take their cards, to remove their cards? Are they able to speak in the campaign? Yeah.
Yeah, where we are.
Then that's the first set. And then secondly, when we have the physical room, because going towards like 2 days before, we are going to have a room. Then on the field, those monitors that are trained are on the field, and they report to the room the incident through a hotline number. And in the room, we have teleoperators who get the incident that are reported from the field and forward it to the analysis room. And the analysis room is a room full of experts in the election, in gender, in security, and so on, who analyze the fact. We have now what we didn't have in 2018, a fact-checking room, because it's very important to check the facts that we receive in the field before we communicate on them. And then when the facts are very clear, the analysis room propose a response to the response and decision room. The decision room is made of eminent personalities who have the possibility of advocating, lobby, and influencing that action should be taken regarding the identified threat. So this is
that is wonderful. Yeah. Now we are in the phase, the pre-electoral phase, and Yvonne just signaled.
Yeah.
I think those are the type of things that should come to your room, from the virtual to the physical to the other ones. How many? What have you done? How many have you had so far?
No, since 20
January. No, within this period of 2025 presidential.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that as part of this monitoring, from January 1st till now, we have been taking those incidents, and we are, because we are talking about fact-checking, we are just double-checking the facts, and then we are going to make the report published before the campaign starts, because there are a lot of things that we have been able to see from the field, and that we need to raise alert on that.
Can we have just an example, just one of the things that you have noticed? Just one example.
Yes. For example, there were cases of in Douala Bonaberi, for example, we had cases where citizens went to register on the electoral roll, but they refused to hand in their receipts. They asked them to go home. They say, why? And many just left, but others insisted. When you register, you have to be given your receipt. So that it is. Secondly, still in another municipality, some women working their widows who had the possibility of having a job after their husband were dead, were given a job. Then suddenly they were asked to go and bring a certain number of electoral cards, like 10 or 15 or 20, otherwise you lose your job. And one of these women just went to her family member and started begging to get cards. And people didn't understand. And she too didn't understand why. She didn't understand until the family members asked her, why do you need to get our cards? She said, because I don't want to lose my job. And then people told her, and she started crying when everybody refused to give her the cards.
That is serious enough.
Yes.
Those are the cases.
Like that.
Yes.
So we think it's important to alert on that, so action is taken. So that is...
Francis, I know you are eager to talk.
Before Francis talks, I just want to add that government, the principal organizers of elections, should untighten the nose, work with civil society. The contribution is so indispensable to the peace we all desire in this country.
Thank you. We're going to get it over with some of the people that we met at the conference center in Yaoundé who attended the consultation, the 8th statutory consultation with Elections Cameroon. Then we'll come back to the set for you to give us the way forward. Two other persons told us what they took to the consultation table.
As a civil society animator, as a writer, the first thing to offer is that I've been listening attentively. You know, writers must listen. Then secondly, I pose a number of rhetorical questions. The person officiating in our own session, I put it to him as a rhetorical question. Now that you are making us believe that from here we are going to improve the elections, what have you inherited from the legislature and what are you going to give to the people? And I ask another question. What will happen after this when the people continuously doubt the electoral system and then we are sitting in a plane and not appropriating our plane? Permit me to share this, it's not a worry, but it's information, that elections is a very critical domain of democracy during which people are very emotional, those who are interested in power and those who are going to be victims of power loss. That's just a domain. Other domains will include executive democracy, parliamentary democracy. I've tested of it. You know, some other domains will include civil society strengthening. I know that they manipulate us quite a lot. This said, I am praying that Cameroonians should capture the importance of elections as an opportunity for the average citizen to select not only the leader, but consequently the type of government policy that can propel Cameroon forward. Unfortunately, as a functional, non-functional democracy, ELECAM is taking it from the legislature, from the lawmakers, and sending to the public. So they are caught in between. Which means what? Which means that we are making lots and lots of make-believe statements, which are declarations, far from what can really make Cameroonians have what they call a stable government. So my prayer as a writer is that I will capture some of these worries and put it on paper, because if today things are not working, tomorrow they will work.
And as civil society, not just civil society, because I'm an expert in electioneering, I think it was important to raise the issue of accreditations. I remember in 2018 there were quite a number of civil societies that raised issues of either not having accreditations or having very limited accreditations from the numbers they had submitted for accreditation. I think that's something that needs to be trashed. Again, with accreditation, it is important that the accreditations are delivered at least a week before the elections, not just 1 or 2 days. Because once you have such situations or challenges, it's difficult to mitigate the situation. The second thing which I raise here is about capacity building. Quite a number of civil societies are clamoring to observe elections, but there is the issue of capacity. Some don't even know that their role in the polling station is simply to observe. Some think they can influence the electoral process in the polling station. So some goes to the polling station with a mindset of like coming in as a political party. That capacity is very important. So they need, this capacity. The third thing is about observing elections in areas or in zones or in those regions with security situations. I think there is need for government to make sure that observers, their security is, they are assured of their security, because it's also a risk, taking to observe in those regions. So this is a recommendation to the government to look at this critically. So basically, these are the things I would say I brought to this consultation, and I look forward for government, for ELECAM, for the stakeholders involved, you know, to see how to make sure that these proposals are well handled.
Thank you so much. We have heard the contributions of some of the participants, and that is statutory consultation with between Elections Cameroon and other electoral stakeholders. Now, Francis, he has talked about the problem of security in some areas of our country. You started talking about that when we introduced you on this program. Now you are based in Bamenda, one of those areas where it will be dicey, as one of the participants said, that it will be difficult for someone from Benin to come right up to, I don't know again, where he said he had to come and vote. Now, what is the situation? How can this be mitigated in the Northwest where you are, and by extension in the Southwest and all the regions of the country?
Yes, thank you so much. Now, what I listen the officials there talk about, you know, one of the things that guarantees a peaceful election is the processes to the build up to the election, which I'm very glad that ELECAM is assuring Cameroonians that they are ready, things are on ground. Because imagine in a polling station, while in the polling station somebody, a candidate or a supporter of a candidate wants to rig an election. What happens? There must be violence. We have had history of stolen results in the country here, which has sparked violence all over the country. So the process building up to an election and the way the election is organized, it matters a lot in this aspect of peaceful election we are talking about. So it will be the responsibility of those who have to manage this election to make sure that there is justice, there's fairness, and respect of human rights. When we have all of this, I'm very sure, like the question is, how do we have a peaceful election? I think that's the question, we are answering here. If we have all of this, I'm very sure that we'll have election that is peaceful. Back in the Northwest and Southwest region where I come from, it's unfortunate that we're in a conflict that has lasted 9 years and counting. And within these 9 years, we have had about 4 elections. And when you look at the results of all the elections, it doesn't reflect what the Northwest and Southwest population is, because the terrain has not been conducive enough, even as we speak. Imagine ELECAM wants to combine polling stations into a voting center.
Voting centers.
It means that if in Bali, where I come from, Bali Nyonga, if I have to leave Mbufung, is a community, to go to central Bali to vote, it's impossible. On election day, when we know that vehicles don't move, no means of movement, how will people vote? So this is a very critical aspect in the Northwest and Southwest region, which if we are talking of a peaceful election...
Goes down in Northwest, Southwest is Monday, not election day. Election is...
No, but election day, movement is prohibited, right?
That's by who?
With cars and vehicles, they don't move.
No, they move. They move.
Unless special ambulances and accredited people.
Yes.
You don't move. And it's always on a Sunday, as we know. So election day, that is why the drafting of polling stations is always closer to the voter. But the Northwest and Southwest has a peculiar issue. I want to appeal to those organizing the election that we are looking up to, that for Northwest and Southwest to have a say in this election, some rules, special rules must be made for them in terms of this vote. If they stick in the aspect that any voter must go to a polling station and vote there, to a polling center and vote there, is going to be very challenging to voters in the Northwest. Why not give a special consideration to those in the Northwest region that on voting day, wherever you find yourself, if you have your voter's card, vote. You are a Cameroonian. So it's a presidential election that has a national constituency, meaning that somebody can vote somewhere. It's a proposal I'm giving to those who are managing the election to see this, because the security situation in Northwest and Southwest, as we speak, has not changed from the last elections that we have.
Yes, I agree with you. It's a good proposal, but the dicey thing with your proposal is What if on the list that is in that polling station you have 50 people, and because people do not want to go to other places, we end up having more than 50, you will still be the ones to say, no, we had 50 people on the list. We are on the list, but we had more in the end of the poll. Those are things that we should consider when we are doing some proposals, you see. Now, that said, before you give your own contribution, I want you to react to this, which came up in the proposals by some of the participants there, where he's talking about the role of capacity building. Now, it is said that people should vote and protect their vote. That is part of the piece that we are talking about. If everybody in the village moves to the polling station, obviously we will not have enough space to take everyone who voted. How should this be done, according to you, in such a way that, okay, we have a number of people we can contain, who can look at what is happening and report to the others?
I think polling stations are found in rooms, and there is a limited number of people who get in. Even if the entire village were to move to the polling station, they were just going to stay outside as observers, because they pick a number of people, scrutineers and the rest, that get into the hall and the counting takes place. This is just a conscientious call that you went out and voted. Why not go back to ensure that your vote counted? We used to vote, people used to vote, go them back home, and the rest happens. Go back and stay there and make sure that by the time it starts getting late, ballot boxes should not be stuffed. Talking about the security situation, we want to have it that if in polling station A, only 2 people turned out to vote, let the 2 be counted and it stays at that. Not that at the end, ballot boxes are stuffed. And to add to what Francis proposed, these contingency measures, the voters register is not something that is hidden. Let me take an example for Mezam. If at the polling stations, they have those lists, you come with your voter's card, it's a matter of seconds to flip through and get that. You were supposed to vote in that area, because Elekam has said they're going to carve out these zones into, you have green zones, you have yellow zone, and then you have red. Because the principle of do no harm must be respected. We'll not go send Cameroonians to go and be killed because of elections. But then, those special contingency measures can be done, because it's one voters register that this country has. You don't register in so many spaces. I am registered in polling station A, that it's in a dark space, and we've been brought to a center. If I cannot even walk to that center, can I, like holder of a voter's card, because we punch it, you will see it, can I be vote? These are just proposals. If they like, consider. If they don't like, but let the results at the polls be respected. No stuffing.
You have done just what I invited you here to do. What should we put into that package of having peaceful election?
Yes.
Now, I'm coming to Reverend Dr. Ngu E. Robert, who, with other people, is organizing activities in the direction of peace. What are these activities?
Well, we are arranging to have the celebration of the March for Jesus, which we know that the head of this country is Jesus. You know, I'm talking about what I know. It says, this light I've given to you, it's our duty to be able to shine, to be able to let the people know the truth. Sometimes the truth is not, we take it to be like we are just joking. The truth cannot be changed. So if Jesus is the truth, as I know that there are Muslims that are praying everybody, I'm not trying to put down the Muslims whatsoever, but I'm going to give you what it is. We know that 66% of the people in this country are Christians. We are actors. We are supposed to be able to set the goal. Yes, you can be praying. James says if you pray without action, your prayer is of no use. I cannot be praying and then the next minute I'm fighting. You see, I have to be the one to show the light to the people. And that is the reason why we are coming out as March for Jesus. We want to be able to tell this country that this has to be done before the elections so that the people will be able to say, yes, we are responsible for peace in this nation.
Yes, that is part of the kind of prayer, looking up to the Supreme Being. You know, it will not be, I do not have any invitation. I don't know, but I know we are going to have ecumenical services, which group different religious denominations in the same direction. If you are invited, will you go?
Yeah, that's one thing I want to clear. When we're talking about March for Jesus, we're talking about getting all Christians to come together.
I'm talking about other believers.
The other believers, they can pray, but they are not part of March for Jesus. They can observe.
Yes,
Okay,
so when do you have the March for Jesus?
The March for Jesus, we're going to have it on the 27th of this month. And we are inviting 21 million Cameroonians to come out, because if you call yourself a Christian and you know that Jesus is the one that will give you that power to be able to negotiate, to be able to tell the people that I love you. Can you tell me that you love me and the next minute you hate me? What comes out of you is what is in you. And that is the reason why we're having so many conflicts in our country, because we are just not practicing what we say. We just say that, oh, we are praying. We are praying. What are you praying for? What is the effect of your prayers?
Thank you so much. We congratulate you on what you're planning to do. And if you were to assemble all the Christians, we will only give you a thumbs up. And we also want to let you know that on Press R, we accept all the faith, all the religions. We also know also that the Muslims will be praying. They will come together. We have Sidimik that has been meeting and praying for peace in Cameroon. And we know that this also is a very crucial period, and they are going to continue to pray. We also accept and congratulate them, because the finality is that we need peace in Cameroon. Now, I'll come back to you, Madam CV, in continuation of what we were saying as a way out. What other thing have we not talked about that you think that we should do as one of the ingredients to put in that package to have as the final goal, peace in Cameroon after the election?
Yes, a few things. But before I point to those few things, I think we should recognize that everything has not been perfect. And he said it very clearly that it's not at the arriving line. The starting point, how did it go? How was the process? And we know very well that there have been some discontentment and some violation. We should be very honest. And what happened to those? It's very important to look into that for the future, and look for ways to appease the situation. Secondly, I want to think that we have to have weapon-free zones, whether in the polling station and so on, meaning that those people who are what we call political prisoners, I think specific measures should be taken to appease the situation by releasing those. And also, I think it's also about just, it's a co-construction. Civil society, political leaders are playing the role, but the main role is at the level of the state. So there are rules. The rules should be really, how do I put it, should be respected. As simple as that. No playing around the rules, because this comes with a lot of frustration. I also think that we should really avoid militarization of our cities. Yes, because it's not something that is making people feel comfortable. And it's not because people are silent that they are comfortable. So I think it's something that should be done. And the political parties should really have a pledge to non-violence. And regarding this, we have a, even, I know, I'm happy you said that you were representing
her party's political leader, candidate.
Candidate, yes. In a few days, we really want to meet you, the candidate, in a meeting for two reasons. First, to get from the political candidate their agenda regarding the peace building in Cameroon, but most importantly, to share the manifesto of women in Cameroon regarding what they expect from candidates, especially in the participation, in the protection of women.
Thank you. Thank you. Yvonne, to you. You represented your candidate, the candidate of the Social Democratic Front Party, will you expect the others to just accept that they have lost if your candidate won? Because that also is one thing that will make sure we have peace. Should all the parties be ready to accept,
it's
no
a
matter
competition, and I think all 12 were in that hall. And when we were talking about this code of conduct, good conduct, we insisted on that aspect because it's a game where we're going to play 12 people. One must come out victorious. And whoever comes out victorious, in all transparency, all honesty, like we are doing the monitoring before, during, and after the elections, results are clear. You who lost, you doff your hat, put hands in glove together, and work towards Cameroon. Nobody, there is no one size fits all in this process. Everybody is a stakeholder. If party A, my party wins tomorrow and says the others, please, let's work together to build this country, we should be able to all sit around a table and talk about Cameroon, reconstruct our nation.
Francis, respect 40 seconds, and let's have your way forward.
Thank you. There's a type of peace that is called inner peace. Inner peace about calmness and tranquility in an individual. This peace is lacking in the Northwest and Southwest region. So I will pray, I will end up with my brothers and sisters in the Northwest region that we are in a very challenging situation. And the authorities concerned should see how elections will be done, and those in this part of the region will be able to participate and choose a leader for them. We are in a crisis. A lot of the aspirants have agendas that show how they can solve the crisis. Those of us in the Northwest and South, let's take the bull by the horn and choose those who want to solve this crisis we have lived in is 9 years and counting now.
Right.
You're already campaigning here.
No, I'll join you.
Yes.
We are not voting
30
manifestos.
seconds, please.
Yes.
You are either on the set. So what do we take home?
We're taking home, what I'm saying here is that if there is no love, there's no peace. And if we want peace, we must be able to understand that fighting or arguing would not change. Who are we? Who is really in charge? And that is the reason when I say that Jesus is in charge, you say, well, we are a Muslim country. I'm not refusing.
Yes, we have gone past that.
Yes,
now, thank you so much. So what we retain from what you're saying is that love should be at the center of everything that we do. Thank you so much, Reverend Dr. Ngui. Robert, you are a moral authority. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Yvonne Mumabi, who is a politician. She is also a human rights defender. Thank you so much also, Madam Sylvie, Jacqueline Domo. You have so many other portfolios, but here today you are a peace leader and a human rights defender. Thank you, Francis, for coming all the way from Bamenda for this program. Your contributions actually made us to move forward. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And to you who watch us from your homes, we are very happy that you were there. And we say thanks for watching, and we will be here again for you next week, come Sunday.